The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another amazing episode of the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. And today the motion on the table is parenting classes should be made compulsory and a prerequisite to having children.
Proposing this motion, we have Dogo High School.
And opposing the motion is Wamy High School. Let's see if they'll do it justice.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Mtoto singuo, utaomba mtu. Singuo, utaomba mtu, mama. Well, as we all know, a child is so important that he or she cannot be borrowed as a cloth. Beryl Atieno from Dogo High School, proposing the motion that states, parenting classes should be compulsory and prerequisite to having children. Well, the question comes, what are these parenting classes? These are classes that one undergoes for the caring of the child. What are these classes? Well, in these classes, this mother or father is taught on how to feed the child, the correct spacing of children, and the medication. Prerequisite is something that has to be done before something else happens. We find that these lessons help in mastering the basics, even before a child is born. Most parents are frightened when they welcome their first child to the world. It is because feeding and caring for an infant is always a challenge to them. Some children die due to choking and therefore contributing to infant mortality rate. If those intending to be parents are taught earlier, this can be avoided. Recently, we have heard of the story about Olive Restaurant where a woman was breastfeeding her child. What happened is that this woman was told that she should not breastfeed her child publicly and was forced to go and breastfeed her child to the washroom. Imagine if that was your sibling, your mother breastfeeding your sibling in the washroom. How would you have felt? So, if these parents undergo the parenting classes, such occasions can be avoided. Some people, if they undergo the classes, it will help them reduce dependency. Most parents have conflicts because some of the mothers depend too much on their husbands. You may find that the children they have are so many that they cannot afford. If these mothers undergo parenting lessons, they will therefore become women of substance in a way that they will reduce dependency in their husbands and be able to take care of their children. Lastly, you find that many families are breaking. Well, this is because that these two people that are getting married, they cannot handle their emotions. If they undergo the parenting classes, they will be taught on how to handle the emotions and talk to each other in a way that the divorce will be minimized. And Article 45A of the 2010 Kenyan Constitution poses families as fundamental unit in the Kenyan society. So therefore, we need these lessons to uphold the fundamental unit to cease these family breakups. When the parenting lessons are made compulsory, we will be achieving one of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as Randy Morrison always says, our lives are driven by the choices we make. So, I think that these parenting lessons should be compulsory. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to make your case.
Parenting classes should be made compulsory and prerequisite to having children. Is that really for development? Should we really adopt this as a nation so that we can move forward for a brighter future, for a brighter and a bigger future? Stick with me, Osama Hashi from Wamy High School, trying to oppose the motion of the day. First of all, to my point, I would like to clearly state that this program will kill our diversity as a nation. As a nation, as an African nation, we are proud of our differences. Differences brought about by culture, religion, and ethnical backgrounds. Therefore, when we create a kind of a syllabus that we follow to raise our children, we standardize our differences. Therefore, we are going to remove our pride as Africans. Let me give you a good example. Our government made a big error when they introduced an 844 system, which they are of recently trying to do away with it. Why? Because this system has standardized us, has standardized our intellect, has made us think, and all of us, it has made us bookish. Why do I say so? Because this system, we clearly see that this system is failing, and the government is trying to find new ways to cope up with it. Why? Because at the first time, we do not appreciate our diversification. Secondly, I would like to state that this program will kill our natural parental instinct. What do I mean by that? Every parent knows the weaknesses of his or her child, the weaknesses that they at most inherit from her or him, weaknesses that a parent will work day and night so that he finds solutions to it, so that his or her son, his son or her son, her daughter or his daughter doesn't become like him, does not inherit his vices. Therefore, these programs, if we introduce them and make them compulsory, we are going to take our parents, we are going to deny our parents this chance. This chance will enable a father or a mother to teach her child what is best for his or her interest. Thirdly, to oppose the motion, I would like to say that biologically a child undergoes cell division and numerous development. At a young age, a child undergoes brain and body development that are consequently following each other. So when we introduce these classes to parents and we invent the do's and don'ts for parents, we are going to interfere with this natural process. Therefore, what we are going to do is we are going to tampering with this natural process. And this might hinder the brain development and may cause a damaged personnel to rise into our society. Therefore, I would like to strongly oppose the motion that if we are for development, we should appreciate our differences. We should appreciate our differences and do not oblige to things that weigh us down as a nation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Proposer number 2, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
From Dogo Secondary School, I'm Immaculate Anthony. I beg to propose the motion that states parenting classes should be compulsory and prerequisite to having children. Why? Many parents lose their children to the streets. This is due to their discipline methods. You find that a parent disciplines a 16-year-old child in the same way that they could discipline a 5-year-old child. This won't help. This child will feel humiliated, and most of them end up running from home and becoming street children. Why the need to punish these children harshly when most of them will, if they are talked to in the right manner, they can make good citizens of this country. As Mother Teresa says, and I quote, "We do not need guns and bombs to bring peace. We need love and compassion," end of quote. So I urge parents to undergo these classes so that they can improve their skills on how to live with their children and give them the correct teachings they need to live a better life. Secondly, FGM. Many girls have been dying as a result of FGM. We have girls in Turkana who have died due to excessive bleeding after FGM. If the parents of these girls, especially the fathers who insist on FGM, as they say, it reduces immorality, are taught on the importance of the lives of these girls, this FGM thing will be stopped. Most girls who have undergone FGM died during birth. What's the need for FGM if it leads to death? We should do things that sustain our lives and don't bring any harm to us. FGM is one of the things that should be seriously omitted from our communities, since it reduces even the number of people we have in this country.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Adan from Wamy High School, and I not only stand in front of you opposing but condemning this motion to make compulsory classes, making parenting classes compulsory and a prerequisite for parents in Kenya. Firstly, I would likely to oppose the first proposer who talked about the feeding challenge, and that she gave a story of a mother breastfeeding publicly. And also the women depending more on their husbands and the marriage breaking. So what this class will do is what I will tell you, I think that can do just the same than to make compulsory classes or let the government introduce compulsory classes and use resources on it than on better things. Anyone forgot about internet? We can use internet. Why should we go for compulsory classes? Isn't it? We are already learned. We can go for internet than compulsory classes. For the second proposer, she talked about punish and quoted Mother Teresa. Why do we need guns? Why do we need force when love and compassion is the first priority in a family? What keeps the family together are standards and love. Talking about FGM, FGM has been practiced by both the learned and the unlearned. And maybe this social practice might be held dear by the members of the community that even if they attend compulsory classes, they might or might not leave it. Without any further ado, I go straight to my point that what compulsory classes do. Compulsory classes are going to be grown-ups. And according to Kenyan standard, grown-ups are 18 years and above, isn't it? And 18 years catch up very fast while we are in high school, which means compulsory classes should be introduced in high school or in our school period. So meaning that this might arise the curiosity of us. Who wasn't more curious when the teacher introduced the topic reproduction? Who wasn't? So imagine this topic being introduced to students. It might corrupt, it might lead to premarital sex or even early pregnancy, which we are totally against it. And if occurs, we can already have instincts to help ourselves. Secondly, my idea goes to talent. This, as my first opposer said, that it has led to bookish graduates, isn't it? Bookish graduates. The 844 system has focused more on bookish graduates. For example, these compulsory classes might tell you, let's call it the manual, isn't it? This manual might tell you to punish or to talk to your children when he or she behave humorously. So that child, he or she, might live in to her ambition. Everyone knows Mr. Bean, a well-renowned comedian. So if we leave our children by guiding our instincts toward them, we might not need compulsory classes. And I strongly oppose and condemn the motion compulsory classes parenting classes must be made compulsory and a prerequisite. Thank you.
For the question session, the proposers have been asked, is it really necessary to have parenting classes when some of these parenting skills are actually common sense? While the opposers have been asked, do they really think that young people are capable of being parents and carrying out their parental responsibilities without going through parental classes? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
Parental classes should be given to parents who, for example, are for the first time having their children, should be given these classes. For a parent who this is the first time for her to have a child, she should be taught on the importance of breastfeeding, but not in public, but she should be told on the importance on how to breastfeed. On to my point. Motivational speaker Carol S. Dweck has found out that 3 out of 10 parents don't know their children well. Why? This is because most of the parents are TB, meaning that they are too busy to know their children. Parents are too busy to take care of their children. Parents are too busy with work. They do not know their children. They do not know how their children are going, but when they take these parenting skills, they will know how to divide the time for their children and for their time, so as to bring and create a bond between the children and the parents. On to my second point. When parents undergo parenting classes, they learn the importance of the health of the child and of the mother.
The parents get to know the importance of various vaccines in our televisions. We have seen this man who advertises polio. Sincerely speaking, that man is really depressed. If only her mother would have known the importance of taking that child to get vaccinated on polio, the child would not been like this. The man says, and I quote, "Kama mama yangu angenipeleka nichanjwe, singekuwa namna hii." The man struggles to walk with the crutches. But if only the parent would have taken parenting skills, this man would not be like this. Thirdly, parenting skills are very important. This is because parents know how to understand their children better. Parents get to know how to relate with their children and to match their parenting styles with their personality. Most of the parents want their children to be clones. Most of the parents want their children to be like other children. I want to raise you to be like your sister. But they have forgotten, not each and every child has the same personality. Each and every child comes with their own word. So, if these parents are taught about the parenting skills, this parent will know how to relate their skills and help to develop their children in the best way possible. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
Greetings. I'm Imran Quresh, and I will strongly oppose to the motion, parenting classes should be made compulsory and a prerequisite to having children. At first, to answer your question, it is not necessary because even our parents and grandparents were raised at a time when there was no formal teaching and they were best according to the standards of that time morally. To wrap up and summarize on my point, making parenting classes would amount to what we can summarize as good parenting. Making a set of rules will apply to all children, and complex development state is wrong. Why? It is likely to fail because each child is unique, and prescribed rules cannot be good enough to cater for the same. This will have damaged and failed the children. If we are going to make these classes compulsory, we are going to kill our freedom to diversity, invent and explore. And for this reason, ladies and gentlemen, compulsory classes for parents is wrong. And I would like to ask my fellow opponents, aren't we done with books and classes and making moving forward our priority? We should be talking about this. Thank you.
Proposition, you have 1 minute to close your case.
I would like to thank my opponent, and I'd like to correct him. Parenting classes, classes are not only done in schools. Parenting classes, they are also given by our parents at home. It's not a matter of books. It's not a matter of internet. Even when you are with your grandparents, you get these skills. Look at our parents. They got these skills not from books, but with the instincts of their parents. They delivered their children well. Look at our parents' generation. Our parents' generation are of men and women of substances because their parents taught them well on the importance of parenting skills. The classes doesn't necessarily mean that you can go to school and learn. Most of them were illiterate. So I'd like to tell you, and I strongly propose this motion, that parenting classes should be compulsory and prerequisite before having children. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 1 minute to wrap up your case.
Greetings once again. At first, I would like to thank my fellow opponent for giving us more weight on our points of discussion today by telling us that our parents are people of substances, people that have instincts. They don't need to be taught to go to class on how to raise their children. Therefore, all our motions are for development. And development starts with the youth. And the cradle of youth is childhood. Should we really destroy this childhood, the brain of a child, and raise them using a manual like robots? This will destroy their childhood. They say change is inevitable, but should we really opt for a change that will take us backward, a change that will make us emulate the Western? It is time for us as Africa to enhance our critical thinking. We are done emulating the West. It's time for us as Africa that we come up with new ways, original ways, ways that our parents taught us to raise our children morally and spiritually upright. Therefore, it's high time that we move forward as a nation. Thank you and God bless Kenya.
Whether to have parenting classes or not, that was a major question. And as you discuss the motion, one of the things that I kept on grappling with at a personal level is whether this directly translates to having a strict institution where parents should go, or whether it can be done informally. I'm reminded that in the olden days, most communities had parenting classes. So when Wamy argues that we cannot have, of course, we talked about killing our diversity, but traditionally, we did have most people before getting married, most communities, not all communities, at least being taken through how to be parents. I'm still not very, very sure whether you are referring to institutionalizing the whole thing. To Baba Dogo, most of the responses came from your side, which I think was a good thing. But what came out powerfully is that parents help a great deal. But what was missing is, you and I will agree, most of our success we attribute to our parents. It's only that now Baba Dogo tended to focus more on children. I don't know whether right now the stage in which you are talking about much of breastfeeding. I don't know whether the stage in which you don't need your parents' assistance at all, because they still need knowledge. But I think the last girl, that is Mercy, came out and talked much about that. So to all, I wish you the best. Thank you.
Down to the numbers. You know it's a great debate when you have a tie. So both schools have 64%. Let's appreciate them.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations once again to both teams for a job well done. A tie says it all. And here from us at the Great Debaters Contest, we wish you well. Until next time, I've been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. Catch you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.